I like Mondays. Some people dread Mondays. Some people hate Mondays. They don't like their boss. They had a rough weekend with, significant others in their relationships or family or whatever the case may be. But you know what? I like Mondays because you know what? I get fired up to get back in the seat here and kick off the show, the live podcast show. Follow us on Instagram if you're not. Right now at studio110.live. Don't be late to the party. Studio110.live. Follow us. See all the pictures. We got some pretty entertaining videos up there, some pictures. Sir Mix-a-Lot and I had some fun. You can see my little shopping spree with Macklemore. You can see, Snoop Dogg and, just all my other, crazy shenanigans that I do in the studio and outside of the studio. So I hope you all, switching from Instagram now to Easter, I hope you all had a wonderful Easter Sunday with your family or your friends. I had the opportunity to have some family in town, and we thoroughly enjoyed ourselves. It was a nice weekend. I thought it was crazy how that. I don't know if Gianni, you're my first guest of the hour here, and I'm going to give you the proper introduction. But did you experience that crazy thunder and lightning last night?
Oh yeah. It was.
It just kind of came out of nowhere. I mean, I was checking the weather forecast. I mean, half of the time they're wrong, but I don't recall seeing thunder and lightning and hail all in one day.
Hey, you never know what you're really going to get here in Seattle, though. You know how it is.
You never know. So I want to welcome my buddy here, Gianni, to the big show. You and I had a good conversation. It was probably 2 weeks ago now on the telephone, and I'm always all about having the different types of audiences and different types of guests on the show, and you really intrigued me on our phone conversation when you told me about the business that you've built up and how it's doing and how it can really help people who just don't know it, that really don't have any points of contacts in these respectful cities, domestically and internationally. Correct?
Absolutely.
So welcome to the show. Did you have a good weekend?
Oh, it was fantastic. Absolutely.
What was the highlight and what was the low light?
Always working. Of course, is always a good up and down. Spending it with friends and family.
There you go.
And having love and support, man. You're too blessed to be stressed.
There you go. Sometimes you just got to put work on the side a little bit and focus on friends and family and the foundation where we come from, right?
Oh yeah.
So welcome to the show, Gianni. You brought your girlfriend in with you here today, and your business that you've developed is called Clubbing 101.
Yes.
Let's talk about Clubbing 101.
Sounds good. Well, first off, thanks for having me also.
Thank you. Thanks for. I know you're a busy guy, and I'm sure you had to, juggle a million different meetings here to be here today. So hopefully the staff back at Clubbing 101 headquarters is maintaining the appropriate respect to you and not texting you every 30 seconds saying, hey, this person's in Milwaukee. What steak restaurant do they need to go to tonight or something like that, right?
Hey, it's a madness. It's a good part of having people in those cities. Right?
There you go. So let all the everybody watching right now and listening on that, because we do audio and visual here at Studio110.live. Tell everybody about Clubbing 101.
Absolutely. So Clubbing 101 is a platform where you could ultimately get connected to a nightlife professional before you arrive in the city.
Gotcha.
So instead of waiting last minute and getting there and then dealing with like 10 different people, you can ultimately get connected before you arrive to one person. Then that person sets up everything before you get there.
Correct.
And it alleviates so much hassle and pain while you have a trusted source in that city.
So it's kind of almost similar to let's say you got to go to New York or Miami or Los Angeles or wherever, Detroit. And, you don't know anybody there, but a lot of times, they'll pay that extra fee, when you're going down the escalator to baggage claim, your name will be on the white sign there. The driver will be holding your name. And that's kind of the proper introduction, especially for business travelers who don't know anybody in these respected markets. So I kind of see you, from what you built, and I've definitely done my homework here, raising that up about 50 notches here in terms of just the overall experience and what they can get with Clubbing 101.
Absolutely. I mean, I think the main thing with Clubbing 101, the beautiful part of it is that when you get connected to someone in that city, regardless of situation, if you booked your flight, you booked your hotel, the first thing you're going to do is either hit up all your friends in that city to find out what's good.
Yep.
And or you're going to Google best places to go.
Gotcha.
So instead of doing that, because usually what will happen is you'll get there, you'll go to a place, you find out it's not even close to being that good.
Yep.
And then someone's telling you when you get there to go somewhere else.
There you go.
Or you're hitting up all your friends and it just gets into a big cluster mess of like trying to get a hold of that person. we figured why not just fill out a quick form and then connect to someone in that city. They'll set up stuff. And regardless if you use them or not, you're going to end up having to work with someone when you get there anyways.
Sure.
So we're kind of filling that gray area in connecting you to people in nightlife. And you probably know as well as I do too that everything's done with a handshake.
It is.
For the most part, right?
It is. I mean, especially, hosting a lot of nightclubs throughout my career and hosting a lot of concerts and dealing with venue owners and promoters and booking managers and booking agents. I mean, it really kind of all, starts with that proper philosophy. Absolutely.
Correct. So I figured if we can connect you to someone that could take that, ultimately make that handshake happen before you even get there, you're set up like a VIP. You're set up like
yeah, and I think that's what everybody wants at the end of the day too. It doesn't matter what your budget is or how you dress or, if you're single or if you bring in someone with you. I mean, you want to feel good about it.
Correct. It's confidence.
And it must be nice to, hear and see the true life testimonials from people that are probably reaching out to you in your camp at Clubbing 101, talking about the experience. Because I would think, you've got your Yelps, but then you've got your direct kind of point-to-point executional points where people can reach out and say, hey, Gianni, was your service really helped us, in many ways,
Yeah. I mean, the closest thing to relate it to is kind of like an Uber, right?
Right.
You have a million different people driving their own cars.
Yep.
Every car is going to smell and feel different, but at the same time, it gets you from point A to point B. Our hosts are very similar, and the nightlife professionals we partner up with are all trusted. A lot of them are very ethical. They're rated and reviewed after the customer has gone through the experience. If they like that person, then they have that as a go-to contact moving forward in that city.
Great.
But if they have a bad experience, Clubbing 101 is the platform to go back through again to connect them with a better person or
Gotcha.
someone different. Right?
So, Gianni, what was the purpose for creating Clubbing 101?
Ultimately, I'm from Vegas originally.
Okay.
And having seen and have friends in nightlife, I've seen people either like tourists get burned by buying fake wristbands on the strip that weren't good, or see people get yanked in 10 different directions. I've had friends and we laugh about it now, but that we'll get texts from 10 different people, 10 different clubs, all charging 10 different amounts.
Yep.
It's such a nightmare. And I figured, why not have, one place to go?
Yep.
Before you even get in the city, where you're like, this person set up everything before we get there.
Yep.
We're good to go.
Yep.
And
I think it's funny how you just kind of mentioned, not funny, but it's definitely relatable to the conversation, how, you come across people that bought, fake wristbands and VIP, real life passes to be able to get them into the appropriate venues and functions. And, at my former radio station, we did a yearly outdoor concert at the Gorge called Summer Jam.
Oh yeah.
And, it's 22,000 people. And every single year, on my show and all the shows, we'd say, this is where you got to get the tickets. This is the reliable outlet to purchase the tickets. Don't be purchasing the backstage passes and everything from the outside sources because, you'll be affected by it. So every single year, and 1 year out in particular, I had this mother reach out to me in the office, and she was crying, completely crying. She was out $850, bought phony passes, and she said, Dirty Harry, I really need your help. So I said, what, I'm going to do whatever I can for her. So I took it upon myself to tell the guys on the team that she needs appropriate passes. She needs to be at the backstage barbecue. I want her to meet her favorite artist on the bill. And, just changing that overall experience from the initial phone call where she was crying and extremely upset to, an experience that she'll never forget.
Absolutely. It's amazing. It's amazing.
So I feel like Clubbing 101 is very similar in terms of, the expectations that you ultimately are looking for from reviews and overall expertise on both kind of forefronts.
Absolutely. I mean, I think that the beauty of it is, right, is like, a lot of these hosts and promoters work with each other. They're all in the same industry. They're trying to make money, get clients, take care of people.
Sure.
They're hospitality. The main thing is that also having the underground handshake of like maybe an extra bottle if people like bottle service, or getting a better treatment, or having your name brought out on stage, or doing something, even getting in the lounges and stuff that maybe you can't get into unless you know somebody. Every city presents a different challenge in that, and really just taking that to the next level, I think, and making everyone feel like they can connect and have a nightlife go-to.
There you go. If you're just tuning in right now, I got Gianni in the studio with me here. the man behind the legendary kind of nightlife, taking nightlife ultimately to the next level, called Clubbing 101. It's a pleasure to have you here in the studio at Studio 110.live. So where did the idea come from?
My thing is just finding that people that were working in nightlife were running up to groups of people for a living all day long, right? At the same time, these consumers don't know what they're doing at all. So I figured, why isn't there something they can go to that connects them in the masses?
Sure.
And I really just came out to Seattle and decided to start it.
It's a great place to start it. Amazon, Microsoft, Nordstrom's, Boeing, you name it. So I think you chose the best city to do it in.
Absolutely. It's been good to us so far.
Where do you feel the clubbing life is ultimately headed? What's your projection on that?
I think that it's going to weed out a lot of the good from the bad. Mm-hmm. I think that you're having a lot of bringing trust in an ethical business practice with reviews and people being able to see who they're working with. It's going to help create this connection of social networking that I think doesn't exist at all, as well as it's bringing leads and opportunity to, say, nightlife professionals to cater to a certain specific market. This is going to be the one-stop shop moving forward for anyone going to a city for nightlife.
And what year did you officially kick this off? What was the first year it debuted here into ultimately to the masses? So.
It literally was created within 6 months of being in Seattle, and we launched our first version of it. Our alpha version of it was in July 4th, 2015.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And what's been, since you've kind of opened it up to the masses, what's been that one experience that you've heard about from either a customer or from, the other side of the platform that's really got you just super amped up and motivated and excited to continue Clubbing 101 to enhance it to just the biggest platform that it can be?
The best experience possible is having people have trust in the host that they're connected with, and then being able to actually get everything set up and taken care of with no hassle, no headache before they even arrive. So we literally had people spend, from company events to small groups going that pay in advance, which means these hosts are doing a good job on gaining the client and taking care of them, at the same time providing them everything they want with their service.
And let's talk about just kind of the dollar breakdown here. Mm-hmm. So is there one package or multiple packages? So.
Ironically, it's actually free for the consumer to go on to our site and submit their info to. Okay. Where we're ultimately making money is we actually charge the nightlife host for the lead.
Okay.
So if the host doesn't do a good job converting or having the opportunity to actually earn their business, like I said, regardless, someone's going to go to that city and work with someone else anyways.
Right.
So it's actually giving them just the first chance to earn their business.
Okay.
Before they get there. So if they don't close it, it's not on Clubbing 101 necessarily.
Correct.
As much as it is on them being good at their job.
And just give the appropriate address for people to reach either to you or to your staff to learn more information here about Clubbing 101.
You can go to clubbing101.com. We also have you could also submit it to inquiries at clubbing101.com. If you have any questions or you need anything else from us, we also have our Facebook page, which is Clubbing 101, and that's really it.
Do you see it translating and even adapting on higher levels outside of nightlife? Do you see it, getting into, the restaurant side of the business, the hotel side of the business? Ultimately to take hotels.com down and raise Clubbing 101 up to, the highest level it needs to be, right?
I think ultimately, ironically, I actually want to partner with those guys.
Okay.
I think that if you're...
I'm very competitive. So when I said take hotels.com down, right. I was thinking, hotels.com potentially, at a lower level, and then raising Clubbing 101 to the level that it needs to be.
What's cool is that I think it will vary on a obviously case-by-case basis, but we do have hosts and promoters that get leads from us that can get better deals on your hotels than even, say, an Expedia or hotels.com, because it's all done with a handshake, knowing someone that works at the hotel and getting a better deal for you. So absolutely, hotels are in there already. We actually have had that happen already. But also, more importantly, working with, say, lounges, restaurants, shows, if you're catering to, say, bachelor, bachelorette parties, birthday parties, everything that could be catered around them setting stuff up, these hosts or professionals can do that in all aspects. So it is definitely not just limited to nightclubs.
So with you being, Gianni, a Seattle-based guy, will you do some some kind of your homework individually by you going out and kind of staying undercover, not necessarily telling people who you are or your company and just kind of watching experiences, whether it be a line around the block or, a bartender, treating a proper customer base in the correct way at a location, whether that's a hotel or a bar or a music venue. Do you kind of like take that into consideration for adapting and developing your business further?
100%. And actually, funny you say that, because the whole thing behind this was I went to 66 cities in 2012.
Wow.
I was on the road for 13 months being a sales guy. And when I went to all these cities, I would actually have to Google everywhere to go, or I'd have to call my friends and see if anyone had been there before. So I'm a firsthand experienced user per se of like finding how to work with somebody.
Yep.
And usually, luckily I'm fortunate enough to just kind of go with the flow and meet people as you go. But a lot of people that don't have that, they don't go out often. Mm-hmm. This is definitely going to fill that gap for you. It's going to make it comfortable for you.
So out of all 66 cities that you were at, what was your favorite city?
I have three.
What were those?
Austin, Texas was number one.
And what makes Austin? I'd like to hear why Austin was number one.
Oh, it reminds me of San Diego without the ocean. Yeah. The people are very friendly. There's a 2-mile radius of just straight bars and restaurants, and it goes from college kid to fancy. And it's just a beautiful place. What
were the other two that rang in?
Small, but it's the coolest city I've ever been to. Little Wilmington, North Carolina.
Can't say I've been there.
Oh man, half the city is on a river, the other half is on the ocean, and it's like within a 10-minute radius of each other.
Cool.
But it's got a small town feel to it. And then number 3, of course, would have to be Scottsdale, Arizona.
Yeah.
You can't go wrong with Scottsdale at all.
I love Old Town. I love going to Old Town, and it's just great people watching, and I feel like every time I'm down there, it's a new enhanced car show.
Oh, yeah.
People, the way they park, they have no problems parking in front of fire hydrants down there. They have no problem getting their cars towed.
Nope.
Reminds me also what happens in South Beach. You walk by, the boardwalk in South Beach, and people will literally, park, blocking police cars and blocking fire hydrants.
The price you pay these days to be Insta famous, right?
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. What was the time, from A to Z when you did 66 cities? Like how long did it take you to do that?
I was on the road nonstop for 13 months.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That must have been a little hectic. A lot of hotels, right?
Oh yeah, 100%. I was the youngest guy in the company, right? So I couldn't rent a car.
Yep.
Everyone else could rent cars. They'd fly for 3 weeks, take a week off. I had to literally drive my own car because I couldn't rent one for 13 months straight. So a lot of miles on the car too. Actually, a couple cars.
Awesome. If you're just tuning in right now, my buddy Gianni in the studio here at Studio 110.live. Gianni's behind Clubbing 101, and ultimately what Clubbing 101 is about is if you've got to go to some random place like Milwaukee, Wisconsin, or a city outside of Chicago, or Newark, New Jersey, and you're into nightlife and you just don't want to sit around the hotel after your boring work meetings with that boss that drives you up a wall, then Clubbing 101 is the company to reach out to put a smile on your face. It's definitely a great experience. I'm looking forward to trying it myself, Gianni, for people that I might not know in Indiana. If I have to go out to Indiana or wherever. I mean, because you are. I mean, are you international yet, or are you just domestic?
We're domestic. We are going to have the new updated site up here in about a week or two, but we're going to be working with. We're going to be in New York, Miami, LA, and Vegas to start. And then we're going to start branching out from there. But definitely international is going to be in the game plan here in the near future.
And you probably just answered my next question, the future for Clubbing 101. So that's definitely the future.
Absolutely. Absolutely. The goal is to be in every major city possible. Get you connected to someone.
There you go. And I would think that, as you're in every major city, you or your staff will have to go out and do a big, huge road trip and, speak at hotels or wherever you're going to speak to and, let everybody know about Clubbing 101, right?
Hey, we got to work hard or hardly working, right? It's gonna be
exactly. Isn't that kind of the name of the game these days? It's like, if the day starts at 9, some people show up at a half hour before work, and some people show up 15 minutes before.
It's true. I'm still trying to figure out how I'm going to explain this to my parents as to what I do for a living.
Oh, you haven't told them yet?
Oh, you imagine? Hey, Mom, I'm owning a clubbing company.
I think it's awesome.
Yeah.
I think you could be in a much worse predicament and situation. I mean, I really do. I think, you telling people, hey, you're behind clubbing 101, because I feel like, and this is kind of what the next kind of topic I wanted to get to is Seattle has always been one of those towns that, the new place opens up, like take, for example, Xstadium. Xstadium, shout out to my buddy Amir, who owns Xstadium. Great venue.
Great place. I love that place.
I remember what it used to look like, the old dueling piano bar called 88 Keys before.
Never been there.
And and it's apples to oranges. I mean, it was,
Gotcha.
He came in there and he just completely revamped the place and remodeled it, and it looks great. So, I remember, when Tia Lou's closed, I mean, people were like, oh my gosh, where's Amir going to open up next? And da-da-da-da-da. And sure enough, he just kind of went under the radar for a little while and then opened up Xstadium. And, I wanted to kind of get your thoughts is, traveling like you and being in different cities, people are always looking for that next place,
100%.
whether it's a rooftop for summertime,
Yep.
Or it's just a new, cool, swanky bar, whatever it is. So I feel like here, though, you see it a lot more often. People are like dying to be able to kind of have that next opportunity.
100%. 100%. The city is definitely one of those that is I think going to constantly change here too. I think in the next 5 years or so we'll be seeing a mecca over here. But ideally, yeah, it's like pushing traffic, or not necessarily pushing traffic. It's more of like getting people to go to the places that cater to what they want to do, right?
Yep.
So Stadium's a prime example of someone who would maybe want to go to the game on that Sunday. Maybe
Yep.
they're coming to town for
Sounders,
the football game
Seahawks,
or
yep.
Seahawks,
Yep.
or,
Yep.
and then all of a sudden they're like, hey, where do you go to like actually have a party, or where's the next spot to go after the game's over?
Yep.
The nightlife professional they connect to in this city per se would then also push them towards something like that, right? Or get them to get bottle service there, or get them to do something. So, these hosts that we're partnering with, again, it's in their best interest to set you up the right way. At the same time, they're hopefully going to make some money on it as well, right? It's helping build the book of business. So it's a win-win for both sides of it.
And especially with you being a Seattle-based guy, do you know some of your crews that, work, ultimately for you, that represent kind of clubbing 101, but then also represent the side of the, whether they're going to a bar or whether they're going to a hotel lounge, or do you have the opportunity to actually talk to people or have that face-to-face time since you are here?
Here and there. It's for me, yeah, absolutely. Like I have my connections at the clubs, like I love going to Aston Manor and going out to Q and all that stuff once in a while. But like it's definitely more of getting them in touch with, say, one person here. Cause that whole 10 different people, 10 different clubs thing we were talking about, ideally, even if I did connect to someone in Seattle, that guy's going to be able to make those text and phone calls for me at the other clubs before I get here.
Sure.
So that way that I don't have to deal with any of it.
Yep.
So like everything's going to be construed, I think, on the back end more for the future than it would be nowadays.
What's your favorite venue to go out to here? Seattle, Bellevue, when you go out?
Ooh, favorite place. I would actually have to say I'm definitely an Aston Manor guy.
Yeah, I like Aston.
I'm a big fan of Aston. I think Aston's good.
Do you know Sean down there, the owner, Sean?
Sean, I haven't met Sean yet. I know David and I know Andy and all those guys. Those guys are great guys.
Yep. Yeah, Sean would be a good guy for you to meet. His background is also from Vegas.
Oh, how funny.
He's been in the club business for many years, and he started Munch Bar over here in downtown Bellevue, and then
Nice.
Munch Bar closed, and then he opened up Aston Manor.
I love Nest too, by the way.
Yep.
Nest is more of like chill, taking out your friends, let them see the city, have some good drinks, enjoy some good
And that's the rooftop
at Thompson
Hotel. Yep. I've been there a few times, and I had the opportunity to.
Shout out to Amanda at Nest, by the way. You're the best.
Yep. I really enjoyed it, and they were some of the best peanuts I've ever had. I think they were like $15 for just a little cup of peanuts, but when you go to Nest, though, that's the experience that you want. I mean, I'm saying that if I want to have some great peanuts, I'm going to go to Nest. I mean, it's just, it is what it is. So, what do you enjoy doing when you're not handling the day-to-day requirements and duties of Clubbing 101?
I love to work out, travel, eat. Eating and food is definitely one of my biggest things ever. And luckily, I haven't gotten fat yet. So
you're lucky. What's some of your favorite restaurants here in the Seattle metropolitan area?
Oh man, Walrus and the Carpenter over in Ballard is one of my favorite spots. I love Salties and Alki.
Yep. Good breakfast there.
Oh
Really
yeah,
good
the brunch.
Yep.
Oh, the all you can eat is to die for.
Yep.
And Toulouse Petite over in Queen Anne.
Haven't tried that.
You got to go, man. You got to have jambalaya there too. It's like based around Louisiana Creole.
Cool.
It's amazing.
One of my favorite spots is called the Bamboo Garden. It's a vegetarian Chinese place on Lower Queen Anne on Roy Street. I've been going there for years. I mean, I don't even have to tell them what I want. They say, hey, number 62. I said, yep, nothing will ever change. So
It's across the street from Chase, right? Over there.
it's kind of across the street from the Seattle Center parking garage, right off Mercer.
Yeah, I know exactly what it's talking
Yeah,
about. I actually
yeah.
walked past there a couple times.
So put that on your bucket list, Gianni, to try out the Bamboo Garden.
What should I get there? 62?
They actually created a Dirty Harry special on their menu.
Really?
Yeah. So it's half.
Should I be nervous about that one?
No, it's actually really good, and I'll be curious to get the real life testimonial after you try it. But
Okay.
It's half sweet and sour chicken and half their chef's special fried rice.
Sold.
And it's all tofu, but you know I like trying to convince my friends when I tell them tofu, they get nervous. And it's like, it honestly tastes like real chicken. It really does. So.
I'll take you up on that. I'll make sure I send you a nice little photo of the plate all gone, because that sounds so good right now.
I'm looking forward to seeing that. Yeah, and I would say my other spot is the Salmon House. Great place in the summertime. You can dock your boat right there on their boat launch there, and go and have some world's famous fish and chips there. It's on Lake Union, kind of underneath the University Bridge.
I think I've actually been there too. Is it over by Westward?
It is.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
The place is amazing.
Yeah, so it's another good place. They do brunch, and probably the best salmon burger I've ever had in my life too. So
I've never had a salmon burger, but I will try it.
well, look, you just walked in the show today, and not really having a lot of detail to tofu and salmon burgers, and now it's on Gianni's new bucket list. So
Hey, look, Clubbing 101's working already.
Clubbing 101 is this is a true life on-air testimonial of what Clubbing 101 could be. I'll tell you, one of my favorite endorsements that I did was I endorsed Virgin America Airlines.
Nice.
And they would put me on their planes back and forth from San Francisco to Los Angeles, and I would just talk about the experience. They'd put me up in the flight deck with the pilot and the first officer, and in their first class cabin, and it was like I said, it was a really fun endorsement, and it kind of reminds me a little bit of Clubbing 101 in the sense that it was so hands-on. It was so easy to kind of maneuver through, the airline side of it, but then with Clubbing 101 kind of handling the nightlife, they really do kind of go hand in hand to 100%. A degree. Because if you're traveling, unless you're taking an Amtrak or a Greyhound, hopefully you're not, you need to get on a plane.
Correct.
So I maybe you and I can have the opportunity to continue talking about Clubbing 101 in the future, and as Clubbing 101 progresses and becomes larger and larger, it would be great to, and especially if you have I'm a big fan of doing this, Gianni, is if you have new and upcoming announcements.
Absolutely.
Save that, and come on in here to the show, and we'll put it out there appropriately. Put it out there appropriately, so you can be here in a professional studio. By the way, what do you think of the studio?
Beautiful studio, by the way.
Thank you.
Yeah, good old Dirty Harry did very well with this one here at Studio 110. I love this place.
I appreciate that.
Great.
I appreciate that.
Thanks for having us on this.
No, I appreciate you coming in. Are there any upcoming announcements that will be worthy of you coming back in the near future here to talk about it?
Yeah, definitely. The new site's going to be launched here within the next couple weeks or so. We have some new updates coming on that. It's going to look great, as well as just keep your eyes peeled for changes here and there. I think as you kind of see it happening, it's going to come up quick. A lot of this stuff's going to happen very, very fast. So keep your eyes on Clubbing 101 for the future. It's going to be great.
Awesome, and feel free. I always love helping people out. So if you want to, maybe you and I can do like a 25, 30-second video. And you can embed that into your website 100%. If you wanted to, and we can just talk about the experience. I mean,
100%.
Rather if I'm utilizing Clubbing 101 personally, which I will be, but I think it would be a fun kind of illustration to embed into your website.
Absolutely.
Any shout outs you want to give to anyone? I'm sure you got a whole bunch of people that you probably want to say hello to, right?
Oh yeah, no. Shout out to everyone that's affiliated with Clubbing 101. Shout out to everyone who's going to be using Clubbing 101 now that you guys know about it. If you haven't heard about it already,
the whole city should be doing that.
Yes, and this is going to be your go-to moving forward. Any city you want to go to Vegas, go to clubbing101.com and you'll get connected to one person there. So it's clubbing done right. That's just the way things are, and we definitely appreciate everything. Beautiful girlfriend and all the support and team that we have going on has been great. I love you guys.
It's great to have you in here. And just for the new audience channeling through, just tuning in and watching Gianni, let everybody know about Clubbing 101, what Clubbing 101 is, what it can offer, and how people can ultimately sign up for it.
Yeah, so Clubbing 101, your one-stop shop to get connected to one person in the city before you get there for nightlife, day life, bars, clubs, shows, everything. It connects you to one person there to take the hassle and pain away of setting everything up, when you get there.
And Gianni explained it very well, and I'm going to kind of read a couple kind of lines here about ultimately what Clubbing 101 can offer to the consumer and to people out there who want to hit the clubs and the lounges and the bars. So Clubbing 101 connects travelers to professional nightlife hosts who provide personalized itineraries and VIP entry into clubs. Whether you're planning a trip in the future or just arrived in town, we have you covered. Not me, but Gianni and the staff. You'll be working with a dedicated host who plans out your experience based on who you are and what your group wants to do. So, maybe some people want to go to, a dive bar, country bar, rock bar, hip hop bar. I mean, plenty of opportunities. My buddy Gianni here saw an opportunity to help those not well versed in the nightclub scene, which affects a lot of people, by connecting them to a trusted host for a fully tailored, stress-free experience. Clubbing 101 provides you with the knowledge that you are in good hands before you step foot into another city. The focus and care that you receive from your host will ultimately define your memories and experiences that will last a lifetime. We hope to, not me, but Gianni and the staff, we hope to be your first stop wherever you book a trip, connecting you to trusted nightlife professionals wherever you go, whether it be in Eastern Washington or Times Square in New York City.
Correct.
So it's been great to have you in on the show today. I don't know if you're in a hurry to get to your point B of the day, Gianni, but if not, we'll be in contact with you and have you back here on the show soon. And we appreciate all that you did on the nightlife scene here for everybody here at Clubbing 101. In the meantime, we're gonna be talking about some music news stories coming up. Kanye West. I'm not a huge fan of Kanye West, but when he's relatable and he's in music news, we will talk about him. I had an experience with Kanye West a few years back where and you'll probably find this humorous. He was in the studio. It was 5 o'clock in the afternoon. A newer artist at the time, and I said, welcome to Seattle. What are your thoughts on Seattle? And he says, Dirty Harry, the only thing going through my mind right now is styling all 5 of my Victorian style mansions. And I knew damn well there was maybe one mansion, not 5. And
5 different rooms, maybe.
Yeah. And that's what you get when you just get such a huge, monstrous ego. You just, it's so big it can't even fit in the room. And
that's why you need 5 of them.
Exactly. it just got so out of hand that we were conducting the interview, and he wanted me to play an unedited, dirty lyric song on the show, and I wasn't going to do it.
Yikes!
I wasn't going to do it, and it was either
for the kids. Come on, now.
Exactly.
Kids are watching.
Exactly, and it just progressively got worse. And then I saw him a few times at like the Grammys and the Billboard Music Awards and the VMAs, and he remembered it. He remembered the experience, and he apologized, but
are those the T Swift days around that time too?
It was a little bit before.
Oh,
it was a little bit before. It's when Don C was managing him, and then Don C merged off to do his iconic customized snakeskin NBA and NFL customized hats that were
those are awesome.
$900 if not more. So that was that. I'm told that your lovely girlfriend here has a couple of shout outs, or has some people that you would like any shout outs that you want to say here on the big show here?
I'm just here for moral support. So
if you can come a little closer to the mic here for me. That's good that you're here for moral support, but I'm sure I'm sure you reached out to your friends and stuff, and you had people that you wanted to say hello to, or not.
Yeah, I'm just really excited to be here and support him.
There you go. I'm reading some notes here as they're coming in. This is why we're live on the air. So I was told you what is until I get my notes here associated here, we will talk about a story, and then okay, now I'm told we're good. You are a fitness model.
Yeah, I do fitness competitions in the NPC.
Awesome. So let's talk about that.
Yeah.
I'm all about going from A to M here. So we got a fitness model here in the studio. I think we all need to, like Gianni said, we all need to take it upon ourselves to hit the gym or go on our evening runs or climb 100 stairs a day or whatever you do. So
You gotta surround yourself with people that bring the best in you. And this girl definitely is a winner. She gets it. She puts 120% in everything. Hence why I absolutely am crazy about her. And if you guys don't follow her at the Axe Kick Chick on Instagram. She also has a good product and service that she's been working on as well, called 4X. If you want to tell them a little bit about it.
I would like to hear it. And before you answer his question, compliments here to your boyfriend. I mean, he's like your publicist here. He just kind of illustrated all the proper details, so it made your life ultimately easier. But I would like to hear about your fitness modeling and where you're at, and ultimately where you're going to go in terms of your career.
Yeah, so the first fitness show that I competed in was in Phoenix.
Okay.
And that was in 2016.
Okay.
So I went through about a 20-week prep for a show.
Okay.
And it completely changed my life. So I went from being slightly overweight, just not confident in myself, really focusing on the negative, and then having to work really hard for something that I didn't think was even attainable at the time. And I'm just very, very grateful for the position that I'm in now, because now I'm able to help other people. I have a lot of young females that reach out to me. They're like, hey, I'm not confident. Like, I'm in this really bad place. I saw that you do fitness shows. Can you help me? And my answer is always yes. So it's really just a very cool experience. I get to surround myself with people who have a positive mindset, people who are really just looking to help others.
That's great.
Really cool.
And how can people get a hold of you again?
My Instagram is the Axe Kick Chick, AXE.
I like that.
Yeah, it's really cool. I came from a martial arts background, so an axe kick is Taekwondo. It's really cool.
So if you guys are walking down the street then and someone gets in your face, she's beating them up?
Let's just say I plead the
fifth
fifth on this answer.
Okay. Because she says that she has a martial arts background.
Yeah,
so,
she's black belt. I got to be a little bit careful. It keeps me in line a little bit.
So if he's out of line, then do you royally show him then? Do you shape him up then?
No, I'm a small person, so I actually feel really safe with him. I don't particularly feel like other people can protect me, but I actually believe that he could protect me in a situation.
So even though your girlfriend has a black belt, if there's an altercation in an alley, 2 a.m. outside of the club, then you're stepping in.
Of course. Luckily,
that's the way it should be.
Luckily, we try to avoid that at all costs. But if we had to, I think she would just watch until it happened, and then if I'm in a bad spot, then she has to go in and save the day. But
I'm there to help. I've got high heels for a reason, right?
Absolutely.
They don't just look great.
I can handle I'll handle most of it, though. We'll be okay.
Yeah, and you always have to have backup. You always have to have the proper backup in scenarios. So sometimes it's sometimes it's your buddy, sometimes it's your girlfriend, and sometimes it's a bodyguard.
I think it's scary when it's from your girlfriend. Like,
it's an eye-opening experience.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So what are your recommendations then as a fitness model and as someone that really understands the true core fundamentals of getting yourself in shape and staying in shape for people that are really struggling, because it affects a lot of people. People they go on diets and they're not getting ultimately the answers that they're ultimately trying to achieve.
Yeah, I think that nowadays there's so many fad diets. People will do I heard this one where people are like, oh, I'm doing a water diet where I'm only drinking water for 24 hours. It's insane. Some people do, I've done it before, a keto diet where you don't eat any carbs. There's so many different ways to lose body fat and cut down on it. I think that the only diet or any successful diet is going to be the one that you can stay consistent with. So I always recommend to people just avoid processed foods.
Yep.
Really think about what you're putting into your body, because it's going to affect the way that you feel, the way that you perform in the gym, and really just focus on being a better you every single day. If you cheat on your diet or you're upset, the next day, just try and remember like, hey, I'm going to do better than I did yesterday. And that's really, I think, over time going to be the number way to stay consistent.
And what do you do? Like, how often do you work out, and then do you divide up your workouts, or is it the same kind of repetition every day?
So I like to change it up. So I'll do like 3-week circuits where I'll write a plan for myself, a different body part every day. And then after 3 weeks, your body kind of gets used to it. So then I'll switch it up. So that way my body's never used to the same movements. I switch everything up. We actually just started doing like full body movements.
It definitely makes you sore.
Where do you guys work out? You guys work out at just at the house, at the gym in the house? You guys members at a?
It could literally be honestly anything. I mean, we go to the gym, of course. We love to go hiking or go walking. I mean, but it could be as simple as being at the mall together, right? And you see a set of stairs, and instead of taking the escalator, we decide to do we'll do 2 steps up the whole thing. Together.
I do that too. Yep.
Yeah. I mean, it's just the small things I think to just stay, keep going, and you keep your body in motion. Use your energy. If you have energy and it's positive and you want to start going out there and getting it, and use it towards something that's going to help make you a better person.
Yep.
We definitely do that on a daily basis. So
awesome. And I personally like to run. I like to do push-ups and sit-ups. From your professional opinion, how many miles should one be running, every day, or how should you divide that up? Because I've actually never asked that to someone like yourself who really, understands fitness. So.
Yeah, I think it depends on your goals. I mean, if you are somebody who wants to gain a bunch of muscle and you want to be like this big, heavy bodybuilder, I would say don't do any cardio. Yeah. If you want, longevity in your heart and you just want to stay healthy, I'd say about a mile a day is probably good.
Okay.
I don't see like the necessity to go any further than that. It just depends on what kind of cardio you like too. I think that if you can find something that's fun for you to do, like hiking, sometimes a hike can take, 30 minutes to 3 hours. I've been on 3-hour hikes before, and it's a lot of fun. I think that as long as you're having fun and you're moving around, it's the best thing for you.
And then a lot of people are, they're fearful of desserts. Whether, because when you talk about desserts, you have your traditional, chocolate cake, and then you have like your sugar-free ice cream. Mm-hmm. And I think people still have that misconception where they're afraid to indulge in the healthier desserts. Mm-hmm. So how do you tell like your clients or your friends that, because it's the old kind of saying, it's like it's all about
moderation,
and having the proper amounts.
Yeah.
So what's your thought process on kind of the overall moderation effect to it?
For myself, if I'm really craving something that is definitely not healthy, I kind of like plan for it. Like, okay, I'm going to stay really consistent for the next 6 days. And then like on that 7th day, I'm just going to allow myself to have that one thing. But as far as like moderation or healthier snacks, Halo Top's really good. It's supposed to be like protein ice cream, a little bit healthier.
Gotcha.
That one's got much less sugar content. So I prefer that for ice cream. If I can get my hands on it.
My favorite treat is I go to the QFC near the house, and they have these protein bars, and they have one. It's amazing. It says 20 grams of protein and 2 grams of sugar.
Oh wow! And
I've looked in the ingredients and I've looked at the packaging, and packaging sells itself ultimately. Mm-hmm. And I've never had any issues with it. And sometimes I'll have one every day. I don't see any issues with that. So.
Yeah, that's great.
So
you look like you're killing it right now.
Definitely not. Definitely far from it. But looking forward to getting back out on the track, and maybe we can all 3 work out. We can be talking about clubbing 101 on the treadmill.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We can be having
and then we'll all go eat Harry's, Dirty Harry's food from Bamboo.
The Bamboo Garden, yes, on Lower Queen Anne, or the Salmon House when the weather turns and we can actually get the boats out and tie them up to the docks. Right?
Now we all have a date now. Let's go.
There you go. Yep. There you go. So there should be no other further conversation from when you leave the studio till you get home, other than the Bamboo Garden and the Salmon House. So hopefully this interview was as exciting as it was for you guys as it was for me. And thank you again for. I know when you came in, I asked you if you wanted to go on with me, and you said I'm going to let Gianni do all the talking. Well, we got the appropriate information out of you. We sucked it out of you.
I was hoping that was going to happen secretly.
Yes. So we got it out. And Gianni, before we close it out here, give the address again here for me.
So clubbing101.com, Instagram clubbing101, Feel free to reach out to us if you have any questions, you need anything. Other than that, you get to the site, you get you connected before you get to any city you go to.
There you go. So if you have to go to Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and you don't know anybody in the nightlife scene in Milwaukee or a small little suburb in Indiana, Clubbing 101 has got your answers.
Absolutely. Clubbing done right.
Clubbing done right. Thank you, guys. Enjoy the sunshine. Looks like it's still coming out of the clouds here at Studio 110.live's headquarters, and I'll look forward to having you guys back here on the show in the near future.
Sounds good. We look forward to working with you guys.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it, guys. And before we welcome in our next guest here, shouting out my guy Marquis and Chevy. They'll be hopping on the mics here shortly. We're going to be talking about a couple music news stories. We'll do a couple teasers and then we'll get into them. Kanye West employee suffers serious injury. The 911 audio has leaked, so we'll try to, at this time today, we will try to get that into the show. Drake keeps shredding his Jordan brand loyalty. And, that's an interesting story in itself because Drake is all about that. Beyonce's clocking away insane rehearsal hours for which performance coming up. We got Amber Rose is back in music news. We got Cardi B, obviously, is in music news. You can't be out of it. And who else do we got today? We got 50 Cent is also in it. And then Drake reveals the impact his album is making on its physical features. So we got some interesting music news stories that we'll try to fit in today if we can fit them into the show. In the meantime, let's get Chevy and Marquis over here on the microphones and get to our next big segment of the show. I'll have Chevy, you stay here, and I'll have Marquis, you guys stay here. Thanks for making the trip, and I know it was somewhat last minute, but it was important.
We here though.
For me to have you guys here on the show. We've been talking about it for a while. If you guys want to put the headphones on and get close to the mics here, so everybody can hear you and see you. And I appreciate the social media push that my team showed me, promoting that you guys were going to be back in. It's good to see you, Chevy.
Good to see you, man. How you doing?
Good, real good. You and I had the opportunity to meet each other through my buddy Nasty Ness at that event up in North Seattle. And it was a great event, and look how it's translated and applied to our relationship here.
Most definitely.
I know you've been traveling a lot. I know you were. Did I hear correctly? You were recently in Hawaii?
Hawaii, yeah. I just got back from Hawaii.
That must have been tough. How was that?
Man, it was a good little woosah for me out there.
Yeah, absolutely. Nothing wrong with just kind of jetting out to Honolulu for a couple days, huh?
Most definitely.
There you go. And shout out to you, Marquis.
Hey, what's going on?
Good to meet your dad and have that good sit-down conversation that we had at the Starbucks at that location. A couple weeks ago, and I like how we adapted what needed to be adapted.
Yes.
You guys are here on the big show. So if you're just tuning in right now at Studio 110.live, Dirty Harry, brand new live show with my guy Marquis and Chevy, two my buddies here. Is it fair to say based out of Tacoma? Seattle? Where you guys?
Seattle.
Yeah.
Okay.
Both.
Okay. Seattle, Tacoma. You guys, you have a fan base all over, so you gotta appropriately be respectful to everybody that's a fan of you. So let's get caught up to speed here, Chevy. So you're an artist and you're a well-respected artist here in the community, in the state. And what are you currently working on right now?
Right now,
if you can just come a little closer to the microphone.
Right now we going in and this year, man, it's all single for single.
Okay.
Pushing the EP though, but we got some hot tracks and we pushing single for the rest of the 18.
Okay.
Build this anticipation because I got a whole new sound. I've always been a mixtape kid.
Okay.
And, this is the first time that I'm actually trying to present a project, and we trying to make sure that it's some
like it's
quality.
Your fan base will be happy with what they
quality,
hear.
Yeah, quality, man. A lot of these guys is moving so fast and taking away from what music is. I feel like these days, and we definitely about to give them that.
And you've been around for a while. So when did you initially put out your first single to your fan base?
My first mixtape I dropped in 2010.
Okay.
And,
so 8 years.
Yeah. I've been pushing. And
how do you feel you've evolved from ultimately 2010 to 2018 as an artist?
Man, I mean, talent. I'm in my prime right now, I feel like. But just being able to move around, bump shoulders, meet people, and see how this is a cold game. This music game is equivalent or worse than the streets. So You trying to get in this music game, you guys better have some tough skin.
Right. Because there's harsh critics out there.
Yeah,
Yep.
and be able to decipher these smiles from frowns and tears and all that, man, because it's cold. So I feel like I'm just ready to step in now. I wasn't ready as a child. I mean, younger man, I wasn't ready, man. And now I just feel like it's time to really kick door.
And what gets you ultimately excited about being an artist?
Being able to express myself. I represent, I was born in 1990, January 13th. I'm one of the first 90s babies. I love representing us and what we do. Because you prior 80s and 70s created us, and I always hear them like, "Oh man, you guys ruining the game," and da-da-da. But it's like, you guys made us, and you guys should have did a better job teaching us then. So I love serving it up, love connecting with my young life, because I want to pass through my knowledge and what I could kick, and it's good. I'm serving it up, man.
Great. And if you're just tuning in right now, Studio110.live, my guy Chevy, my guy Marquis on the big show here today at Studio110.live. And one of the real, one of the important reasons that I wanted to have my guys here in the studio with me is just from Nasty Ness. I mean, Nasty Ness is a dear, very close friend of mine, and I'm sure Marquis told you the story 100 times by now. That he opened the door for Sir Mix-a-Lot, and then he waited a few years, and then on the non-music side, and more on the radio host side, like myself, he opened the door for me, and I'm forever grateful. I mean, I think you can probably speak for someone who ultimately opened that pathway for you to be able to get into the studio and like I said, be a respected artist out here in the Northwest and put out successful projects.
Man, Ness done a lot for us, to say the least.
Shout out to Uncle Ness, man.
For sure.
He don't know I've adopted him as my uncle, but that's Uncle Ness, man. And Ness has really just been, taking us under his wing and just really just been, supporting us and been behind us ever since we, introduced to him and met him, and then so. Shout outs to Ness, man.
I like that event that we did. I mean, there was probably like 30, 35 artists there, and
that was dope.
They really kind of silenced up when Ness spoke, because you've got a legend speaking, given his proper ingredients on how to ultimately shape up that pie.
Right.
Dropping gems, man. Dropping gems.
So what's the next song that you're currently in the studio working on, or what's the next project that you're about to release here?
We got a single we're about to drop called "Better Believe It." We just came off pushing this single. "Been About You" is doing good numbers. The numbers are shooting up. We tapping into everything as far as major outlets, Pandora, Spotify, blah blah blah. We making sure it's getting pushed properly. And this next joint we gonna push is "Better Believe It." It's real West Coast, but
I like West Coast. He knows. I mean, Battle Cat is my guy. Anytime I can hear a true West Coast song, I'm all about it. I had an opportunity to hear some of your music. Marquis, your producer, your right hand, sent me some stuff, and I definitely like what I heard. I mean, it's him and I just had a conversation a couple days ago, and I told him on the phone, and he knows this about my style, is I am a West Coast guy. I always have been, and nothing against the East Coast, but when it comes time to like that West Coast production and those lyrics and how they're embedded up properly, that's what I'm about. That's what I wrap my head around.
Right, for sure.
Most
West
you
Coast.
Gonna get it with this track. You gonna get it with this track for sure.
And West Coast is my favorite. As far as music goes, as far as hip hop and stuff goes, and it's just my favorite genre. You know what I mean? It's for West Coast. The West Coast sound is just like, I don't know what it is about it, but it just gets you up.
It gets you amped up.
It gets you amped up, and it gets you moving. I mean, like you can dance to dang near every
It put that real rhythm and oomph on hip hop. I feel like, you know what I mean.
Ultimately, Chevy, where do you want your career to take off to? And before you answer that, and I'm sure you're aware of this, a lot of artists today, aren't necessarily shopping the record deals because the labels take such a high percentage, and the artist really isn't left with much. So a lot of them are trying to stay independent. So what's your thought process on that?
Most definitely, that's my goal, to stay as independent as possible and be able to just push through, man, and just send this message. If I got in it for the money, I wouldn't be doing this. So I'm just looking to really reach and just represent, like I said, this type of 90s day West Coast baby. You know what I'm saying?
So this is more kind of like your hobby. This is just something more like you just like to do on the side, because you have that pedestal and you have that voice and projected sound that you want to be able to apply to the masses.
Most definitely,
for sure.
Marquis and I have had a couple conversations, and I'm sure he filled you in. about an idea that we talked about, kind of, spin-off of American Idol called Northwest Idol, where, ultimately you and, your other artists that you respect and like here in the community, would be like a real, like, contest. Yeah. It would be a real weekly contest where, a new artist would be crowned, a prize or whatever it is, every fourth week on the calendar. And I think there's a lot of artists that don't have, the opportunities to be able to get on a stage and to be able to open up to their fan base, whether it be 10 people or as many people as it needs to be. So I think, I wanted to kind of get your thoughts just from the artist standpoint, but then also looking outside of the verge of being an artist to how you think, your fan base and other artists' fan base would be able to apply ultimately to an opportunity like that.
Yeah, I definitely feel like that's something good for us, but I feel like everybody around here always trying to turn it into something bad, man. We got a bad case. My dad always called it a bad case of the cools, man. Everybody's way too cool for no reason around here, man. I feel like a lot of cats need to humble themselves and come and bring the pain. Put up and shut up. You know what I'm saying?
What do you enjoy doing when you're not in the studio recording music?
I'm a family man. I love to be around family. Not just I got 2 daughters. Not just my children. Family. Period. I'm one of them that I go pull up on a great uncle and just sit down and give them some conversation because ain't nobody checking it out or go see blah blah blah.
Or taking your family to Honolulu for a weekend. You probably surprised them too.
Exactly.
So most people don't really have Chevy's willpower in the sense to just to be able to surprise their family and reward them with, maybe they're going through some tough times or whatever the case may be. So, props to you, Chevy, for doing everything that you do. Who are some artists locally and nationally who you look up to, who you ultimately would like the opportunity to be able to do maybe an upcoming collaboration with?
Man, Seattle is really wowing me, so I don't want to give a specific as far as Seattle.
Okay.
But in the majors, man, the people that I look up to are the businessmen / rappers. Masterpiece one. I spoke with you that night. Masterpiece definitely one.
I just spoke to him a few days ago.
Yeah, I really commend, hats off to him, and I would love to do something with him. And 50 Cent has always been one of my favorite dudes, man.
Yep. Good one.
Yeah, he don't care about what nobody think about him, and that's me.
Back in the day, 50 was on the show with me. This was a number of years ago, and I had no idea that he was a Sonics fan when we actually had the Sonics here. And in those years, the Sonics office was right up the couple floors up from where the studios were, where we broadcasted from. So I took it upon myself to go down to the Sonics organization and request as many jerseys as I could. They're home, they're away, they're kind of the shooting shirts that they do before the game begins. Yeah. You should have seen the box of product that they gave me to send to 50 Cent. So I sent it to 50's house, and he sent me these pictures of him wearing it. And
wow.
And it was he's just one of those guys. I've had a couple opportunities to work with 50. He was at the Nordstrom store. Promoting one of his lines. I think it was his headphone line at the time at the downtown Nordstrom store, and he's just a good guy. Yeah, he's a good guy. He gets the business, and he really understands. I mean, especially look what he did with vitamin water. Yeah, I mean, look how that changed the game. I mean, I drink that all the time, especially the sugar-free Power C one.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. I'm on that Triple X heavy.
Yeah,
daily.
Because it's got the electrolytes. So if you need just some, if you need some new fuel in the tank, you hit the vitamin water and it gets you up and going.
For sure.
We just kind of touched earlier on artists and collaborations. Besides the 50s and the Masterpiece and local artists, what would be like a dream come true for you, Chevy?
I just want to go there, man. I'm trying to say something platinum like or something, man. I want to hit a level that they say. I want to be recognized out here, man. I want my town to be like, man, that's the dude who put on for us, and not just a baby way. I want to go straight major, something major for us. Yeah.
But do you see kind of what I talked about earlier, though, how a lot of artists aren't signing deals with labels?
Yeah.
because they want to keep some for themselves, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
so
sure.
like in your opinion, like you mentioned earlier, you do want to stay independent, and by you staying independent, that's more of the overall coverage that you're adapting and sending out to the mass for artists that look up to you.
Most def. And when I say major, I don't mean exactly major, like major labels, just big. I want to do something big for us.
Yeah.
It ain't got to be just about the dollar or however, whatever, but something big, man.
Yeah, if it were for me, I want to be inspiring to somebody. You know what I mean? To show them that you really gotta put the time and effort into this. If if you really want this, as far as music goes.
Yeah.
And just know that there's a grind, man. You really got to put time and your best foot forward, because if not, you're not gonna get nothing out of it. I mean, so I want to be able to tell a story and inspire somebody. Like, look, you can do this, man, but you got to put the time in and just go for it.
Yep.
I mean, be a risk. I say be a risk taker.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I'm the same way, Marquis. And we can see, the track record and how the track record is ultimately built up.
Yeah.
With, like, for example, artists like Huey P.
Yeah.
Huey P's out here,
out to
and he was on the show last week or the week before, and his first song, did over 1 million on World Star. So you can see it can happen. I mean, it's no like there's no hidden ingredient in the recipe for someone to not be able to capture their dreams overall.
Yeah.
Most def.
Any shout outs that we want to give? I want you guys to hang out with me, but any shout outs we want to pass on? I'm sure we got quite a few, right?
I want to give a shout out to my pops. You know what I'm saying? Our business partner, who's been really been rocking with us. Everybody who's on the team. Shout outs to Uncle Nasty Ness. See, man, I know you looking. I know you listening. I know you watching.
Oh, he's watching there.
Yeah.
He's probably got nothing else better to do right now than watch the show.
Yeah,
Studio 110.live.
Shout out to Ness and just everybody who's really just been in our corner and really been supporting us and sincerely and just been having our back in this music stuff. And shout outs to you, Harris.
Thank you.
What I mean? Like
Thank you.
man, ever since I met you, man, it's just been nothing but. I call it solidness.
I appreciate that. I appreciate it. It's great to have you guys on the big show, and and maybe when the next record is ready to come out, we could premiere it here on the show. Have you guys back and premiere it. In the meantime, I wanted to get you guys in here and give you guys the proper warm introduction, since Ness and I are very close friends, and you guys are working with him more on a business level, even though you call him Uncle. He's more of just a darn good friend to me. But
for sure,
I will tell Uncle Ness that you spoke highly of him, and that looks like you brought him in a bottle here for Uncle Ness.
No, this is actually for you.
Oh, thank you very much. I appreciate that.
So
This is actually the first. This is one of the first gifts that I've received since launching the show on March 15th. So I appreciate that.
These Seattle people are so rude, man.
I appreciate you bringing in the gifts.
No problem.
And
we appreciate you.
We'll celebrate this on the proper occasion. We'll save it for when you guys come back in.
Yeah.
And we'll like we say, we'll pop it accordingly. So we'll pop it accordingly.
Yeah,
Pop them
I
bottles.
like that idea. I like that.
And once again, just to let everybody know here, we got Chevy and Marquis here, personal friends on the local music scene. I appreciate you guys coming in. You guys are more than welcome to hang out.
For sure.
I'm going to transition here to my next in-studio guest here. I've known him for many years. He goes by Guy. Who's the face, voice, and ultimate main ingredients behind the brand called Trinity Nightclub in Pioneer Square. Welcome to the show, Guy.
Hey, how's it going, Harry?
Good. How are you, man?
I can't complain.
I think the last time you and I actually hung out, and this is I consider this hanging out with you, even though I'm putting you on the air here, was at the old Shanty restaurant.
Yes, we had breakfast at the Shanty
years ago. I mean, I can't even gauge how many years ago that was. Across the street from the former radio station, and I remember we had a good conversation. It was primarily talking about nightlife, and I wanted to create a show here that is music and fashion and nightlife and tech and just everything kind of in proper accordance. So no one's really left out. So it's great to you're one of the first here on the. Besides my buddy Gianni from Clubbing 101, who was just in here earlier, but from the venue side, you're one of my first guests. So welcome to the show.
Well, thanks for having me. And you guys, you got to hit me with the single so I can play it at the club.
Most definitely.
You got to give me the contact information.
Okay, for sure.
That's necessary.
See what happens on the show. See new deals that are being broken when you
Yeah.
didn't even expect it. So.
Absolutely, for sure, man.
Sizzling.
Appreciate that.
So let's talk about Guy. Let's kind of kick it off with where Trinity is and where Trinity is headed. I know I see him all the time on social that you've got events coming up left and right, and I've been through there quite a few times, and it's probably personally my favorite spot to go to in Pioneer Square. So
Yeah, it's been a nice run. We've been at capacity on Saturday night every week for 13 years. So
Wow.
we're doing all right,
yeah,
We got our anniversary party is coming up on April 13th.
okay,
We got Kim Lee.
Kim
from,
Lee.
She's out of LA. She's a big, semi-big star.
yeah.
She was
Well,
in
I'm sure she
Hangover.
is if you booked her. So.
She was in Hangover 2. She was on Amazing Race Vietnam. She's half of this group called Kim Cat.
Okay,
You can see her on Instagram.
awesome.
Kim Lee.
And when is this big event?
Friday, April 13th.
Friday, April 13th, and I'm sure all the tables are already sold out, or
They're getting there.
they're getting there. They're getting there. And maybe there would be an opportunity either for her or others for you to bring them down here to the studio and give the proper introduction for some of these events, right?
Oh yeah, I can certainly ask.
Yeah, I think it would be good to get these people channeled through. Like we have Chevy here and Marquis here from the Seattle area, making a lot of noise out here, doing what they do so well. Where do you feel nightlife is right now? Where do you feel it ultimately needs to go to, Guy?
Where do I feel it needs to go? I think it needs to go the same place it's always needed to go. It needs to be fun. It needs to be interesting. It needs to be a place where people can meet up and hang out and introduce themselves to one another. You can only do so much online. You know what I mean? Like, at some point in time, you got to get into somebody's actual personal space and get some pheromones exchanging and, get some eye-to-eye contact, and get out into the real world.
Yep.
Make some mistakes, make some memories.
Yep.
Be introduced to some new things.
There you go. It's
And
all about evolving. So.
Yeah. Well, it's evolving, but at the same time, it's, you know what I mean? It's getting
Recreating.
back to basics.
Yeah.
It's the same thing that they used to do, 1,000 years ago. It's like, let's go drink and tell stories.
Yep. So when we talk about modern rap versus golden era, let's touch on that a little bit here.
Man, it's a hot topic.
Yeah.
It's a hot topic. I see people all the time, they'll take some single and they'll be like, it'll be like the 10th best single that came out in July, right? And they'll be like, oh, well, that wasn't as good as Illmatic. I'm like, well, oh, yeah, true, of course.
Yep.
You're right. Take the 50 best songs that came out in the last 40 years, and you're right. This one song this summer from a dude that has one album out probably isn't as good as the greatest songs of all time.
Right.
But there's a lot of songs. I was around in the 80s and 90s. There's a lot of songs that nobody talks about that were hot for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
They were hot garbage,
Yeah.
but they were the hit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, we bumped them at the barbecue and then forgot about them immediately. And there's a lot of songs coming out right now that are the same way. But there's some classics getting made,
There was when we speak about just kind of the older stuff, and I'm sure you guys will remember. Diana Ross back in the day had that classic, from the Motown collection called Upside Down.
Yeah.
And then MC Light came out and did that song called Cold Rock a Party.
Yeah.
Prime example of a record that it's a feel-good record, good summertime, springtime, record. And, did what it did in the clubs, did what it did on the radio, but I don't feel like it got the ultimate proper presentation that it deserved to be, from a record like that, for example.
True. MC Light kind of crushed on TV Raps, though. She had big videos, man.
Yeah.
She was the best.
Yeah, yeah. Let's talk about the Seattle Freeze.
Well, what do you guys think? Are people in Seattle cold or are they friendly?
If you can come a little closer to the mics here.
Fake friendly to me, man. I'm gonna call that out fast, man. It's just enough to. It's not genuine. I feel like a lot of times, man. When for me, I travel a lot. When I go other places, people really put it together and really go through with it. And really, you're like one of the few people that was like, hey, I'm about to get you guys to come through and mess with me, man. And boom, here we go.
Yep.
Yeah, we're here. You know what I'm saying? Like, that happens all the time when I'm out in Atlanta and stuff like that. They're like, come through, man. Ain't about no money. Come meet us at the studio.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, I'm messing with somebody who's would normally be charging you at least a, band or something. You know what I'm saying? And they're like, hey, keep your money in your pocket, man. Just come through. Come here,
Yeah.
Seattle don't got that for you.
No.
Seattle's
There's not enough unity here, man.
not.
It's my opinion.
We trying to break that though. These new age young cats I've been seeing, they're trying to break that, man. But it's just.
I mean, there's a lot going on in Seattle, but you got to crack through the ice. You got to crack through the Seattle freeze. Like, it takes a minute to get somebody to actually speak to you in a real way, as opposed to just telling you, what the weather is and how to find the Starbucks. You know, like
Yeah.
You gotta pay your dues.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
you got to get the keys to the door. The door is not open.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Nothing in life is free, but.
So, Guy, you're from someone in respected like yourself in the nightclub industry, and you're a DJ too, and you've got multiple platforms here. How do you personally continue to recreate yourself as your brand, and then how do you apply that to ultimately Trinity, your nightclub?
Well, I mean, I'm an older gentleman in the nightlife scene. You know what I mean? Like, I got the gray and the beard. I've been doing it for a long time. So you just got to stay hip to what's going on in the streets. You got to talk to the kids. You got to listen to the. You just can't come out and play DMX. For 20 years in a row.
Yep.
Yeah.
You got to actually tune in and see what's hot and get a feel for it. Or else, if you're one of these dudes that's stuck in talking about like what was great 15 years ago, it's time to just retire and go home and listen to what you like to listen to.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If you want to be out here, you got to, go on Instagram and look at Hypebeast and be like, oh, okay, I guess everybody's wearing alligator sweatsuits now. You know what I mean? If that's the thing, you can't come out looking like me.
Well, you look fine. I mean, you look fine. I mean, everybody's got their own, trends, and everybody likes to dress what feels, ultimately, comfortable for them to wear, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So as a DJ, and I've had a lot of conversations with DJs throughout the years, and I'll be interested to get your opinion on this. And I wanted to kind of see if you still have to deal with this and see this, but I think there's a lot of DJs that are, feel it's more important to them to play what they want to hear versus what the crowd ultimately wants to hear.
I think it depends on why the crowd is there. If the crowd came to see you do what you do, then you can do what you do because that's what they came to see. But if they're just at the party and you're the one that's supposed to play the music and set the mood, then you got to do it for everybody. You know what I mean? Like, you all got to agree on it. You can't just, play your 10 favorite songs unless your 10 favorite songs are what people came to hear, Like, if you're just out with a girl at the club, you want to hear good songs to dance to.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I can definitely meet it halfway. I can play songs that definitely satisfy my own tastes, and also play songs that appeal to the crowd.
And I think a lot of DJs' dreams are to, build up residencies like at Trinity's and, the different venues. So what are some key fundamental, things that you look for when you are, giving someone the opportunity, which is, for a DJ, an opportunity of a lifetime to have a weekly residency like at a Trinity?
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely like two kinds of DJs. There's DJs that have residencies, that you can find them the same spot every week. Or there's DJs that play all over the place. And it's definitely two different styles of performing, When you get to know a crowd and the crowd and you start to get used to each other and people start to come for that environment, then you can explore it a little bit more. Uh-huh. When you're on the road, you kind of got to put together that road set that's kind of like doing, like a concert tour or something. You kind of go from town to town putting on your show.
Yeah, it's kind of like it's like, the guy Godfrey, road trip, started at Trinity and built up. So to a degree, in people's mindsets.
I've played out in other cities, and it's been okay. There's been some good ones and some bad ones, but for the most part, I'm definitely more of a residency guy. I like to be comfortable. I like to know what gear I'm going to be on. I like to know what the crowd, kind of expect what the crowd wants from me.
Do you ever still see DJs? I mean, it's almost a diamond, dime a dozen these days, where you just rarely see it because everybody's got the CDJs. But do any of the guys old school? Are they actually, bringing in the crates of vinyl, or you just rarely see that anymore?
I mean, if you got a guy like Supreme, that's putting on, a show where they're doing 45s or something like that, or like rare record shows, sometimes they'll bring out the crates, they'll dust them off.
Yep.
But for the most part, if people are playing on turntables, they're usually playing like Serato, something like that.
Yeah. What nights can people actually come to Trinity to see you, do what you do up there in the DJ booth?
I play in the main room on Friday nights with this dude Mubek, and we play like big, like Vegas style, up tempo, high energy, strobe lights and fog machines and epic build-ups, hands in the air. And then on Saturday nights, I play in the side room. I just play all hip-hop.
And speaking of hip hop, what are current artists that you're a fan of that you're showing love to at the club?
Some current artists. Wow.
What's on guys?
Before I came in here.
What's on guys' playlist? I mean, the Cardi B's, the Migos, the Black Beatles. The usual suspects.
I do love Migos. I really do. You know what I mean? Like Handsome and Wealthy is probably one of my favorite songs out of like the last 10 years.
Most people do because I think they're getting $325,000 in a show right now, from what I heard. So
yeah, I mean, they're this generation's hit. They're the Chub Rock of 2017, right?
Yep.
But I don't know. Like my favorite song of the last summer was probably Caroline. That song is the joint.
Yeah, it's definitely a good record.
Real unusual structure to the beat. I enjoyed it a lot.
What are some recommendations, Guy, that you would give to like an up-and-coming DJ that wants to enhance and perfect their craft to be able to feel comfortable enough to approach you to be able to do a night or do a set at your club?
A lot of DJs will show up to a club wanting to play there, and they've never been there. And it's like, go to the club. You know what I mean?
What a concept, yeah.
Just go hang out, drink a beer, watch the show, see what the crowd is like, see what the people are like, see what the staff is like, see what everybody's into. Like they want to walk in and be like, hey, how do I get booked here? And I'm like, this is the first time I've ever met you. Nobody knows you. You don't even know what kind of music we play here.
Yeah. Do you get that a lot?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
And do you almost have like a recorder in your pocket that you press a button and you don't have to answer it every time?
I mean, they're usually kids, and I'm starting to get kind of paternal with these guys. I pull them aside and I put my arm around. I'm like, look, man, I got to walk you through this.
You give them that father-son. Good,
Yeah.
good. The Guy Godfrey Trinity father-son, feeling. So
it's more like an uncle. Like an uncle, like Ness, right?
Yeah. Like a good old nasty Ness. Yeah. Someone's got to open up the door and pave that way properly.
But let me ask you this: is Ness still rocking that cowboy hat?
I haven't seen it. I haven't seen the cowboy hat. Have you?
Ness,
I have not.
Ness was trying to make the cowboy hat work for a minute.
Was he?
He had the boots too. He had the boots. He was making it happen.
I can't say I ever knew Uncle Ness to be wearing a cowboy hat.
He had it, man. It must have been a brief phase.
Yeah. Well, we'll have to ask him about that after the show today. Let's talk about festivals versus concerts in your opinion.
Festivals versus concerts. I mean, I think that festivals are kind of like the...
Could we come a little closer to the mic for me? Thank you.
I'm sorry, I'm shouting at it from across the room.
That's all right. I just want everybody to hear Guy Godfrey because a lot of people know you, and I want them to hear you. So.
A lot of people that are texting me saying, "Hey, I'm listening to you."
Good. Hopefully
you're hearing it buzz like every 30 seconds.
Yeah. That's why our Instagram followers are reaching new heights and awareness here, and we're doing big things here on the show here at Studio 110. So it's great to have everyone here in the studio. But let's talk about festivals versus concerts, Guy.
I think festivals are an interesting phenomenon that has really exploded for this generation. Like if you compare it to my generation or other past generations, they didn't have this thing where there was like 27 concerts at the same time. And the kids are like used to it. They're like, oh yeah, that's the thing. Like 3 months from now, I'm gonna pack 3 months worth of partying into this one party.
Yep.
They used to go out every week just looking for something to do. Now they're like, I'm just gonna save up, and then I'm gonna like, I mean, they like design a costume for it. They make plans with all their friends. We didn't do that.
No.
I mean, like every once in a while, we'd plan to go to some show at the Key Arena or whatever. But for the most part, we were just going out to, really terrible small parties, in bad nightclubs and raves and dangerous warehouses and stuff like this, watching people getting paid $200 to perform. And these guys are going to these parties, and it's like, yeah, they spent $2.5 million on talent for this party.
Yeah.
Should be okay.
Yeah, right. Since you've emerged into the Seattle scene, Guy, from a DJ and from the nightlife expert, VIP host like yourself, what's been your favorite show that you've been to? Because everybody's got that one show that you'll never forget that you just loved.
Stevie Wonder, Songs in the Key of Life concert at Key Arena. They did the album from start to finish, and it was magic, man. It was. It was what music is meant to be.
Yep.
The guy is, he's a gem of our era.
He is. I've had the opportunity to interview him on the red carpet at the Grammys, and he was one of the kindest souls that you could ever possibly meet. So
At the end of the show, like, he knew that everybody was gonna be mad that he wasn't doing like all of his, big hits.
Yep.
Like Superstition or whatever.
Yep.
And so he finishes the songs in the Key of Life thing, and then he says, now DJ Tick Tick Boom is coming on. And he broke out a controller and started DJing his own songs.
Wow. And these are experiences that you'll never forget.
I will never forget them, no.
And I would say I have two. One was the back-to-back Prince shows at Key Arena. Those were some heavy hitters. And then I would say to this day, and I'll try my best never to miss one, is a live Snoop Dogg show.
Yeah.
With Daz and Corrupt and the Dog Pound and everyone up. The Snoopadelics, his live band, and back in the day, before he passed away, rest in peace to Junebug, Uncle Junebug. He'd bring him up on stage, and it was such a highlight to see, an older guy just dancing next to Snoop Dogg, his arm around him. I mean, how many artists bring their uncles out on the road,
You gonna go catch him on April 21st?
I heard we had my buddy Jamie Adler. I don't know if you know Jamie Adler. He was on the show on Friday, and he's putting together a tour with Wu-Tang and I think Cypress and Snoop. And I said, you got to get that show up here. They're kicking it off in California like they always do because, want to make it easy on Snoop since he lives there. But we got to get him up here, and we're going to get Snoop Dogg on the show. And Snoop Dogg is always, every time I've interviewed him, you're always prepared for him to start off saying, what's up to my nephew? He always refers to me as his nephew. He says, nephew Dirty Harry. That's how big Snoop Dogg always does it. And shout out to his guy, DJ Battlecat, also an upcoming guest on the show. In my opinion, I mean, I'm sure you're aware of DJ Battlecat. I mean, I don't feel there's a better producer, beat maker, just artist as a guy like Battlecat.
He was just in the studio with my guy Rockefeller like 2 weeks ago.
I know.
I'm curious to see what they did.
Yeah, he was just up here. The reason we weren't able to meet up was not only was he in that studio, but he was actually working on Dr. Dre's new album while he was here.
Yeah.
So I know a lot of people are waiting to finally hear. I've been waiting, over 10 years now, to hear the new Dr. Dre album. So shout out to Dr. Dre and Battlecat and everyone. All right, so let's talk about it. And you're not old in any way, shape, or form. I mean, you look 37 in my opinion.
I'm not any older than Rockefeller.
But being old in a young person's world, how does that translate to Guy and to the image that you portray and you put out there every weekend to your fan base?
I was talking to a kid at the club one night, like on an off night, and I was dressed real casual, and I realized about 10 minutes in the conversation that I was wearing a shirt that was older than him.
And who made the shirt?
They gave it to me when I worked at the post office.
Oh, okay.
It was a post office T-shirt.
It was a post office T-shirt.
Yeah. Back in the day, I was a mail carrier.
There you go.
Yeah. So, anyways, when you start at the fact that you're wearing a shirt as old as the kid, like, you're gonna have some different, unique experiences, and you got to be able to carry that experience with you, but not be closed to the new experiences. Because the kids just aren't gonna be in the same stuff as you.
Yep.
I mean, they are. Like they like some of it. They like Dre, but they don't like a lot of the other old stuff. So you just gotta, catch the flow, figure out what they're doing, and have fun with it if you're gonna stay involved in their community,
Because you joke about wearing a post office T-shirt, but there's a brand, I think it's out of Italy, and I can't think of the name of it right now, but they've taken they have the rights to use the DHL shipping logo for their T-shirts, and I see them on this website called Essence.com, and these T-shirts are going for like $800. So we laugh about it, but people are actually, it's in fashion, it's in trend,
I was at a birthday party on Friday, and this girl had on a Kirkland brand sweatshirt. And I was like, I didn't even know Kirkland brand made sweatshirts. And she's like, they don't. It's a knockoff. And I'm like, you're wearing a fake, like, generic shirt?
Yeah.
I was like, I got to wrap my head around this.
Because I always call them, like, the backpack kids, the kids that you see, like, on the Pike Pine corridor in the U District and on the east side, shopping at Bellevue Square, and just the trends that they come out with, and you see them wearing, like you just mentioned, you see them wearing the knockoff Gucci, and they've translated that into being, the thing to wear now,
There's some bold statements being made by these kids.
And I'm sure you see it all the time in the nightclub business. I'm sure you see it.
Oh, I've seen it all.
You see some things that you probably don't want to see.
I've seen some victories and some defeats in the world of fashion.
Yeah.
It's cool to look homely now. That's the thing. It's really cool. They like to look bummy. They like it.
I had this discussion with a friend of mine yesterday. I hit her up the next day. I said, "Did you do that on purpose, or did you just come straight here from somewhere else?" And she sent me all these pictures from Instagram. I was like, "No, this is the thing right now." And I was like, "That's the thing, okay."
And let's talk about that thing. Is it kind of like waking up in the morning and trying to look like you're homeless, or what is it?
No. This was like this. It was like gym clothes with a fanny pack. And I was like, really?
Some
like
bright
white
shoes.
Yeah, some white shoes. Okay, all right. She was right. Shit, all right.
There you go. Because that's what we've talked about in the past too. Is when you wake up in the morning, you got to put on what feels right, what feels comfortable. And if that's a Jordan tracksuit, or if that's that fitted blazer from Zara or an H&M with a hoodie underneath it, or whatever it is, like no one's gonna knock it, because that's your staple. That's that's how you want to continue to enhance your brand.
I mean, they're gonna knock it, but it's just up to you if you're gonna care if they knock it.
Right.
Because the people that you want the respect from are the people that are gonna respect the fact that you don't care.
Yep. Right. Let's talk about some of the effects of social media on nightlife here in Seattle.
You don't have to go out anymore to meet somebody to start a relationship with, either short or long term.
Yep.
You can swipe them and then meet them somewhere. You don't have to go out searching hunter-gatherer for a mate anymore.
Yeah.
You can skip awkwardly hanging out in the nightclub trying to make eye contact.
Yep.
So there's still people that want to go to the club and have fun and dance to music and stuff, but the people that were just going there to try and meet somebody, I think, are starting to skip that process and just they're just sitting at home and just relentlessly stalking them on the internet.
What are some other local music venues or clubs or just any kind of destinations under that kind of parallel that you like to go and frequent and that you respect? I mean, I know it is competition, but I think it'd be interesting to kind of have that conversation because Trinity is a household respected brand in Pioneer Square in Seattle.
Yeah, I mean, people try to manufacture some nightlife rivalries from time to time, but they don't know that we all hang out, the people that run the clubs. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You're all friends.
I've hung out after work at times with every VIP host in the whole city that we were fighting over the same table for.
Yeah.
And, we were eating pizza together 4 o'clock in the morning while everybody thought that we were hating on each other.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I send people to my friends' clubs all the time. I get them on the list. I get them into shows. We're all family. We're all friends. It's all fun.
And I'm sure you found it, probably remarkable. And I think it's okay to talk about it because you guys all help each other out, and you guys, you're all, ultimately trying to, have the same, ending result on, your typical Thursday, Friday, Saturdays. But you and I both knew kind of what 88 Keys was, for example. Shout out to Amir.
Yeah.
And how that kind of leveraged and expanded onto Stadium.
Oh, man, Amir's my dude.
Yeah.
Me and Amir used to get into my parties with a fake ID, and that dude is not young. I mean, I don't want to put him on blast, but he's not young.
Yeah.
So he's done a great job over there. The place looks awesome. The food is great. The place looks nice. Good people are going there. They got some good parties going on over there.
Yeah.
He's killing it. I'm proud of him.
Because I feel like the two, inner core true destinations when you want to go out on a Thursday, Friday, or Saturday and you want to go to Pioneer Square, you're either going to Trinity or you're going to go to Trinity and then Stadium or Stadium and Trinity, or you're going to kind of bounce back and forth.
Well, Stage is still in the mix too.
Stage,
There's some nice people going there.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of cocktail culture in Pioneer Square now too. There's probably 10 spots where you can get, a nice handmade cocktail. So there's some things to do down there.
What is your opinion on just how people have kind of took it upon themselves to, and I'm sure when you drive, on a Saturday night or up and down the Pike Pine corridor on Capitol Hill, I mean, it's just it's kind of like South Beach, Miami. I mean, you're backed up for a couple miles.
Well, South Beach, Miami, with everybody wearing shirts like this.
Yeah.
South Beach, Miami.
Yeah.
Minus the South Beach. It's cool, man. I mean, they got their thing. Those guys have worked hard. They laid a lot of foundations, a lot of groundwork. I mean, they did it old school. I mean, they went to the city and they changed permits and things to make things happen up there. So those guys have been on the grind for a long time, Like the guys from Numos, the guys from Q, the guys from all those bars up there, they put in a lot of work.
Yep.
They worked hard. They did a good job. My guy Ben, Blue Eyed Soul, killing it.
Killing it.
He's
And-
booking the DJs at clubs across the street from each other on the same night.
And shout out to Steve, who owns Numos and Mobar and Barboza. He'll be a guest
Steven
coming
Severin?
up. Yep.
Oh, that's my guy.
Yeah, Steven will be coming into the show here. We'll be doing some segments with him. What is kind of your, because we also have, promoters listening who are trying to, some people, they don't want to DJ and they don't want to necessarily be, a VIP host, but they do want to kind of build up the traction to, be a promoter.
If they want to
promote
be,
an event.
if you want to be involved in the nightlife industry and you cannot figure out how to get in, the best advice I can give you is show up at like 9 o'clock. Don't show up at midnight, because if you show up at 9 o'clock, there's just staff hanging around waiting for everybody to get there.
Yep.
And you can just walk up to them and start talking and make conversation.
Yep.
Even better, you can be like, oh, hey, do you need a hand carrying that or whatever? Or can I hold this door for you?
That's what you got to do. You got to just pay your dues.
If you show up at midnight, there's like 100 people in line. The guys at the front are sweating, and you're like, hey, I want to talk to you about working here. And they're like, get in line. Get out of my face.
Yeah, probably not. Probably choosing a Saturday night to come talk to Guy about sparking his interest to get you on the team is probably not the time to do it. So
Yeah. And if you buy a drink from a bartender and you give them like $10, they're going to be a great source of information, much more so than if you don't.
Yep. Any shout outs that you want to give to anybody on your staff at the club, or your text has been blowing up left and right. I know you have a lot of people watching and listening to the show right now. So,
Man, shout out to my guy Justin. He just retired from Trinity Nightclub. If Saturday night was his last night.
Retired.
He'd been there. We gave him a gold watch, no lie.
Really?
He'd been there for 10 years.
Wow. So
It's an amazing thing.
So 10 years there. That's a retirement, huh?
Yeah. You come work for 10 years, you get the.
Was it a whole ceremony? Like, was he up on stage and lights were beaming on him, and you had a red carpet and beautiful cars outside of the venue?
No.
No?
We mostly just all the staff met up in the VIP room after the night was over and took some selfies together and
Yeah.
gave him a hug.
There you go. I want to invite my buddy here, standing in the corner here. He's a friend of mine. Come on over here, Ryan. I'm going to. I don't want you to sit here because it's going to block the cameras. But if you come right over here, Ryan. I don't usually do this, but for my buddy Ryan, I'll do this. Ryan, if you could just get on the mic here real quick and let my in-studio guests here know about ultimately what you built up and how we are here as a team at Studio 110.live, changing, ultimately the record side of the business and the music business overall.
Well, I was just sitting here listening to you guys. It's nice meeting you. Ryan Conley here.
How's it going?
Guy, nice to meet you. And you guys, I'm sorry.
Chevy Shan, man. Chevy
Nice to
Shan.
meet you, Ryan.
Marquis.
Nice to meet you.
Hey, Ryan, why don't you sit right here?
Sure. I just thought it was really interesting listening to what you guys are talking about the industry out there and the club promoting and stuff. It takes a special personality, especially get to the point of actually retirement in the industry, right? Like that's pretty. I commend your friend that was able to accomplish that. And you're also talking about social media and stuff. And what we're working here also at Studio 110 is that we have this new Facebook that pays the people in Bitcoin to use it. And this has been a catalyst what's allowed us to go ahead and have this space, get the word out there and uplift, people like yourselves and your businesses that you're working with. But there's a massive backlash. I think you guys would all agree. It's hard to deny what's going on Facebook right nowadays. Can you guys see? I'm sure you can all. What have you seen about Facebook recently?
A lot of lawsuits.
Can you come closer to the mic?
A lot of lawsuits I've been seeing and stuff like that. That's what you're talking about.
Right, inside trading,
Yes.
privacy, breach of privacy, these kind of things.
Yeah.
So this is the world's first encrypted and uncensored social media network as well. And it's really set up a lot of my friends financially about this. Just imagine if Facebook was paying back 90% of all of its money back to the users on a daily basis, which is $25 billion a year that Facebook is making. But 90% of that was going back to your pockets in the form of Bitcoin. Every single 15 minutes that money is rolling in. So some of the things I'm thinking about is, real estate was my background before I got into this industry, and just like, the evolution of the club industry and how social media affected that, where do we go from here? Just imagine monetizing the clubbing networks, just the people that come through the doors and these people that have been in the industry for, I'm just thinking the great people that you guys are connected with. Yeah. And so we just kind of want to bring this to your attention, not to take away from what you're doing, but help you guys enhance what you're doing and setting up even a longer retirement for someone. I don't know what a retirement looks like. I mean, is there retirement benefits from being in the clubbing industry for 10 years?
No, you finally get to sleep at night. So what,
Right.
I'm very curious. What is the link to this platform?
Yeah, thank you. So I've been in the Bitcoin industry this is all I do, and I like to sleep at night. I love my sleep, so clubbing would never work out too much for me. But we're living in a day and age where this social media has become a form of communication that really the people need to own the communication platform, this global communication platform. It's a public utility, and where Robert Kiyosaki once said that your network is your net worth. Right? In the clubbing industry, it's like, well, one of the questions was, how do you get to that point? It's like, well, the things that run through my mind is you build up a massive following. You reach out to the best people, you prove yourself, you build a big following. So when you go and you have events, a lot of people are coming here. I can't personally necessarily do that, but I see what I'd like to work with you guys on before further conversation is how do we do this and really show an explosion of this new social media network where we're talking about privacy and freedom of speech and kind of walking away from the corporations, the decentralization of the corporate digital giants like the Google and the Facebooks out there, and helping, because a lot of people don't have a lot of money right now. I mean, I've been financially blessed because of Bitcoin, but I can tell you it sounds like this has a pretty amazing networks, what's possible here in rebranding the clubs that you're associated with and the people that you know, and the people. This is why I brought Harris on board with us, but we see this actually happening right now, and it's never been a better time. So, and we also just launched the world's first social media cryptocurrency. Imagine if Facebook came out with their own coin, right? And that was a coin of the people in the space. That now your club is actually accepting a social media cryptocurrency when you're in a social media environment. I mean, it just dominates the club atmosphere, doesn't it?
Yeah. Okay, so FutureNet, that's what we're talking about?
Yes, FutureNet.
FutureNet.
The next Facebook that pays the people in Bitcoin.
Man, I'm kind of curious.
Yeah,
I kind of want to dial it up right now.
See how we can, maybe partner up and incorporate into what we got going. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. And we would like to, people that come on board, when you guys really see the true vision, it's about changing the world to me. It's not necessarily about the money, but uplifting you guys. I'm not trying to take you away from what you're doing, but we have this great space up here. We would allow you to throw cool events and stuff like this and give people at the same time a little, taste of what you guys, what we're doing at the same time to help build you guys up even more.
Is Bitcoin the only crypto you partner with?
Well, we pay out in Bitcoin, but we also deal with Ethereum. I'm really big into Bitcoin.
Yeah.
It's changed my life, right? Like Bitcoin is really Ethereum, and so I'm full time in cryptocurrency. I mine Bitcoin, but I really live a life where it's how do we change the world? And social media has the ability to go one way or the other right now. And so I think we're really getting a tilting point. You guys are getting the inside knowledge. We have 1/10 of the world's Bitcoin population now on FutureNet. These are cutting edge minds. They're entrepreneurs. They're getting the memo. A lot of people on Facebook don't even know what Bitcoin is. Yeah. Sounds like you do a little bit, or you've heard about it.
Are you going to get the Winklevoss twins involved? What's going on?
You never know. I would love to. I'll probably have some kind of non-compete, right, coming from Facebook. You never know. But it's just really interesting. And also, this is a fun conversation. You asked, how is social media supposed to be done? There's actually been proof that it's actually causing brain damage to some extent because people are constantly getting that dopamine drip from going through these news feeds. Yeah. But I think that people are online actually looking a way to get off of line so we can have more better relationships in the physical realm than the virtual digital realm, because we're living parallel lives right now, right? So I appreciate you guys hearing me out, but I'd like to get to know you guys better on FutureNet too, and in real life, For
sure. It's okay to meet up on Facebook and decide where you're going to go mountain biking. It's not okay to just sit on Facebook and watch people mountain bike.
Yeah, exactly. We got to get there and live life, for sure.
For sure, yeah.
Yeah, we got to return this. I mean, if you think about how much money is Instagram and Twitter, how much are these companies all worth? Snapchat. I mean, Facebook's $25 billion a year. 90% of that going back to the people is substantial, man.
Yeah.
And we have 1/10 of the world's Bitcoin population. There's only 2.5 million users, but that shows where we're at right now and the ability to go up to 50 million to 100 million, where that's where like MySpace was, for example, and stuff.
Yeah. MySpace, rest in peace.
Yeah. That was right.
Is MySpace, is it still around? Is it still out there?
I just logged into my MySpace the other day.
I heard Justin Timberlake bought it.
I didn't even know.
It surprised me. But we do have a plan with our developers here that actually made Bittrex. This is where the largest cryptocurrency exchange in the United States was made, in this unit that you guys are in right now, and our business partner, Aaron, in the office here. So we have actually a plan to change the music industry through social media. We'll talk about more a little bit later on. But you guys, thank you for being on the show. Harris is great, isn't he?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll talk out there, but thank you guys.
All right.
Thank you, Ryan, for coming in. It's always a pleasure and an honor to. Ryan's a busy guy, and it's a pleasure and honor to have Ryan step in. Ryan's done a lot. I mean, how many people can say that they've helped retire their own parents? I mean, and we had a situation here at Studio 110's headquarters a couple weeks ago where a gal, she was a Uber driver. And I think it was Arizona. She was an Uber driver, and one of Ryan's business partners outside of the state that he works with, was cashing her in from just the proper, the way she was trading and the way she was diversifying her funds and her accounts to making $5,000 a day. So, the proof is definitely there, and Ryan has got a wonderful team here.
Definitely got to talk to him.
Yep. Ryan's definitely got a great team here. After we get off the air, hopefully Ryan will be around here and not pulled into another meeting, and you guys will have an opportunity to chit-chat with Ryan a little bit more. Guy, I appreciate you coming in today, and you always take good care of me. Whenever I have come down to Trinity nightclub, all I got to do is send you that text, and if it's not you, you'll send out one of your main guys, and I think more clubs need to adapt to that, Nordstrom's-esque customer service. I always say, what's the difference of shopping at Nordstrom's or Macy's for people that still shop at Macy's? When you shop at Macy's, the gal or guy behind the register ringing you up, they'll give you the bag over the counter. But when you go to Nordstrom's, they'll actually take it upon themselves to walk around and hand you the bag, followed by a handshake. What feels better? I mean, what feels better from the customer relationship? So, you've done a remarkable job training your staff down at Trinity to excel in customer service, and that's why you guys are still around and still respected and still open. There's unfortunately a lot of venues. We won't mention names, but there are venues, around Seattle, if not down south, up north, that just aren't brilliant at the basics. That they just don't get the concept and true core understanding of how important it is to have people walk in, but then walk out with the proper expectations.
Well, Pier 70 had a good run, right?
That's the thing. That's the thing about you. Is I'll try to that's the thing about Guy, ladies and gentlemen, is I'll try to really paint the best picture I can. He'll come in and say Pier 70 had a great run. So I mean they did, yes, yeah, they did, and props to you, Guy, for continuing, like I said, to train your staff to be the best that they're at, and I know this is a fact, Guy. I know a lot of venues purposely will hold lines outside, so like the out of towners when they're driving by, they'll want to think it's busy, but you guys, you're not doing that on purpose. No. It's really busy in there.
We meet every weekend to try and figure out how to get them in, because nobody, they'd rather be inside buying a drink from me than standing outside being cold.
Yep.
I gotta say, you guys are doing okay too. One thing you can't tell from this is probably how nice the view is from this studio.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if I've ever been in a studio for a podcast or radio that had the view that your studio currently has.
I've never been in one.
Yeah, it's I told some of my guests last week that if I wanted to do a traffic report here for 405 north and south, I could do that. Yeah. I could do weather reports. I could talk about if there's anything big going on in Seattle. I mean, we have the opportunity here to be able to put our footsteps into proper motions to be able to for people that are listening in their cars or at work, or we have listeners on in their cars and at work, and we want to be able to apply the proper knowledge and breaking news stories. So it's a good place to be.
For sure.
It's a good place to be. Guy, any other recommendations or shout-outs? One of the things that I did want to talk about, we touched on a little bit, was just overall damages caused by fast fashion these days.
Fast fashion. Well, you get what you pay for, right?
Yep.
People manufacturing clothes in a factory with no building permits is probably going to have some problems, right?
Yeah.
What do you think? You think you should buy things that have been manufactured with integrity, or do you think that you should buy clothes that were made by people making 75 cents an hour someplace that doesn't have smoke alarms?
Yeah, that's a good point. It's a very good point. I feel really bad for people that are put into those conditions, that have to work under those terms and conditions every day. I mean, I can tell you honestly, you know, I don't really have too many places that I shop at here locally, because you know, in the Seattle fashion scene, if we're talking about that, there's not a ton of opportunities compared to, you know, the LA and the New Yorks and the Miamis and other fashion capitals here on the scene. But when it comes time to you know, local fashion here, in my opinion, Guy, and hopefully this answers your question, you know, I like Zara. I don't know your fans. I don't know your opinion on Zara or H&M. Don't really. I mean, I go into Nordstrom's here and there a little bit, but recently, and I told Loretta Sophie, who was on the show a couple weeks ago, she was the executive vice president for the entire women's division of the whole company, and I said, you know, if it's the buyers or whoever it is, there just needs to be some more proper understanding in terms of what people want in that store. And what are your thoughts?
Well, I mean, I like to support local businesses, you know. I mean, it's kind of fun to go into an old school spot like Zebra Club or something and still help them, you know, keep the doors open while people are buying things online. And just you know, there used to be a time when regions had more of their own style, and now I think it's starting to get homogenized a little bit, you know, like people are buying online, people are buying from big chain stores, box stores, and so you kind of see the same gear from one city to the next. So I think it's fun to go into a place that's unique to the town that you're at, you know, and really dig around and ask the locals where they buy their gear and get something that's unusual.
What do you feel Seattle nightlife needs that it currently doesn't have in terms of adapting to change for the future?
Valet parking.
Yeah.
Clubs don't ever have valet parking. Everybody hates walking to the club in the rain.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I think that would help. But you know what? Everybody in Seattle's cheap, too. So they're like, I don't want to walk in the rain, but I don't want to pay $10 to have my car get parked either. So
Right.
part of the Seattle's problem, I think, is probably Seattle, you know? Like, people in Seattle, you know, you move to a city for what's there. And a lot of people move to Seattle, and they're not moving here for the nightlife.
Sure.
They're moving here for tech jobs or to go hiking in the mountains. You know, they're not moving here. They would move to Miami or Los Angeles or Vegas or Chicago or one of these cities if they were moving there for the nightlife.
Yep.
But there's a lot of people that still want to go out here. But it's not a hub. It's not a mecca of nightlife. There's still fun stuff to do. But you know what I mean? Like, you can't expect too much.
Yeah. What is your opinion on some venues allowing it and some venues not allowing it? Just being able to wear a hat into the club. If you feel more comfortable wearing a hat, you should be able to wear a hat, right?
I think it's debatable. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of these dudes out here need to comb their hair before they go out for the evening. You know what I mean? Like, they're not. There's a lot of cats that are not trying to take their hat off because there's a real mess underneath. They're a couple weeks late on the cut. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, they're trying to hide their problems.
Yeah. What is your policy at your club for hats? No hats?
We don't allow hats.
There you go.
And I'm telling you, you see some broken hearts out at that door.
Yeah. People actually crying that they can't wear that.
You see the dudes coming from the baseball game, you know, and they got they got the wings coming out the back.
Yeah.
And you're like, hey man, you gotta take off the hat. And he's like, oh no,
Yeah.
I can't do that.
Yeah. Do you ever like put it on social media, on your Facebook or your IG, that like, hey, to all my good friends that want to come out to the club, you know, if you're out there by 9:30 or 10 o'clock, you know, you'll walk in with me. Do you ever do those surprises for the true Guy Godfrey, you know, fan base?
You know, unless I'm on the wheels, my friends can always text me and get walked in. But if I'm on the turntables,
kind of hard to,
it's up to you. You're gonna have to make something happen out at the door.
Because I don't think there's not too many. There used to be some of those, you know, long 6-7 minute records that you could actually, you know, run out and do that. But you know, most of these records today are like 3 minutes long.
I mean, you know, if I was playing at Casa You Betcha, but not at Trinity, it's a long walk to the front door, man.
Yeah.
What do you think about weed in Seattle?
I think it's a good thing. I think it's helped a lot of people, especially on the medical side, that are suffering with pain, and you know, it's a pain reliever for them. And when it was illegal, I think it was a lot harder for people to you know, jump through the proper hoops that they needed to. And I feel like now with, you know, shout out to my buddy Ian from Uncle Ike's. He was in here last week, and you know, you can see what he's doing. You can see the traction and the footprint and how Uncle Ike's has evolved now into a glass store and a car wash, and he's opening up more locations. And
well, he owned the car wash before he owned the store, but that's actually where I'm headed after this. I don't know if you know this or not, but I actually co-own a weed company as well.
There you go.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that.
Miller Marijuana Farms.
And where's that located?
The farm's located over in Okanagan County, but I'm
Cool.
still located over here.
Yep.
Yeah.
And do you have a store, or are you just more on the growing side?
No, in the state of Washington, it's a two-tier system. You can either grow and distribute, or you can retail.
Okay.
And so if you grow and distribute, you got to sell to the retailers, like Uncle Ike's. Or if you're Uncle Ike's, you can't grow. You can only sell through your store.
Gotcha. And I know it's a profitable business. I know it's if you're not in it, you probably should be in it, right?
You know, it's like any other business. It's profitable if you put in the work.
Yeah.
The money isn't just, falling out of the sky.
Yeah.
It's still hard work. Like growing weeds sounds real sexy until you get out there and you're working on a farm and you're like,
Putting
wow,
the gloves on, getting dirty, yeah.
dude, pulling weeds is the worst.
Yeah. I'm sure you have a
It's the worst.
staff that does that. Or are you actually doing that yourself?
I'm not gonna lie, we were kind of bootstrapping it that first year. I was on the grind.
There you were.
We cleared a field of fruit trees. I thought I was gonna die that day. It was hot.
That's why you got to stay hydrated, you know?
I was very hydrated that day.
Good. Well, Guy, I hope this is a reoccurring segment on the show when we can continue to tap into Seattle's nightlife and have you in here, and maybe we can do some giveaways in the future. Maybe we can give away some passes to some of your, more exclusive shows, or just, an opportunity for people to win something so they don't have to, because people are going through some tough times in their individual, situations. So it'd be good if, Guy, Godfrey, and the show can, collectively put together some fun promotions for the listeners here at Studio 110.live.
Wow, that sounds like a pretty good idea. Maybe I'd even give them away a table like this Friday if they hit me up on Instagram.
There you go. So let's do that right now. So what's that Instagram address? I wasn't even expecting to do it today, but surprises are always happening on this show.
My handle is SeattleGuy001.
There you go.
You just got to hit me up on there.
Right now.
Oh man, I've got you covered.
Do you want them to do they need to put like a little paragraph together on why they deserve it, or do you want to make them work for it, or just hit you up?
No, man, like the best emoji wins.
The best emoji wins. He's
Yeah,
making it super easy, and you're going to give them a table, which usually costs how much?
Usually $220.
So you're getting right now on the show a $220 gift, and I can tell you right now that Guy is not going on any other shows doing this.
It's true. I am not going on any other shows and doing this.
Yes. So that is absolutely huge. So give that IG out again.
It's SeattleGuy001. Oh, but you know what? I think that they're also going to have to follow your social network, aren't they?
Oh, of course they're not going to win it unless they do that.
Well, what is that handle?
That is at studio110.live.
Okay.
And it would maybe one day a dream come true that I'll walk into Trinity and I'll see a banner hanging by the DJ booth that says studio110.live, Dirty Harry's new live show.
You have banners?
Well, we can create them. Yeah, we can create them. I mean,
I know a guy.
Yeah. I think it would be fun for me to walk into the club just real kind of nonchalant and see the show's name vibrant and a packed. Because what's capacity at your club?
The capacity is 750 people.
Yeah, so that'd be pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That sounds like a lot of fun.
So I want to get you back in here. There's always things to talk about. I know you've got probably a million other things that you've got to. Priorities that you need to attend to after you leave the studio today, Guy, and especially for Marquis here. And
I have to go to Uncle Ike's. That's what I have to do.
If Ian is there, please tell him I said hello.
I will.
Yep. And look at the experiences and the opportunities that people can meet here on the show.
This is dope.
And
Digging it.
And so I really appreciate it, Guy. If you have to take off, I don't want to hold you back. In the meantime, I want to shout out the High Children.
That's exactly what I was going to ask for.
My guys, Jason and Jamal, they just finished up their video called what was the Got Money, and it's definitely a really cool video that hopefully we'll have the opportunity to premiere here on the show. They're heading out to New York this week to hopefully go on Sway's show for the second time. So shout out to those guys.
Yeah, I actually met Jason and the guys from the High Children out there. When I was in LA, I met out with Ness. We was out there at a hip hop convention.
Uncle Ness, yeah.
Yeah, Uncle Ness.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Yep.
Uncle Ness was out there at a convention. I met those guys, man. We got some real cool guys, man.
Yeah, there's a lot of talent here in the Great Northwest that just needs to like you guys. You guys are a prime example. That's why you guys are here. That just needs to be tapped into correctly. It's just because if it's not tapped into correctly, how will it ever get discovered? Yeah. How will it ever be able to be on that that level that it needs to be for the fan base out here, right?
Most there.
So it's been great to have everyone in here today. I want to also shout out my guy Gianni, who kicked off the show here today at Club 101. He's got a really cool guy. You'll appreciate this. He's got a really cool business that he's built up where he's ultimately the virtual concierge. So if someone is living up in Fairbanks, Alaska, and they don't know anybody here in the nightlife scene and they want to come down here, they can utilize his services to be able to come to Trinity and have that VIP experience.
Yeah, Erica was telling me about it. It's like an open table for bottle service.
Yep.
Like he's your bottle popping hookup or whatever.
Yeah, bottle popping new genius on that type of format. So it was great to have Gianni on here and all the guests so far that have come in, and our Instagram is really growing nicely thanks to Erica, the show producer, and my assistant who works so hard behind the scenes here. Everybody behind the scenes here at Studio 110.live, Ryan and Cristiano and Aaron and Pierre and Julianne and Jen downstairs, and we got a whole staff of people here working real hard behind the scenes to continue to make the show as elevated as it needs to be, as vibrant as it needs to be. So I couldn't be happier to be back on the air. You and I have talked about it a number of times that, when you're on the air for 19 years, you always kind of have that itch.
Absolutely.
You have that temptation. And I took a little break and did some stuff that I wanted to do, and now I'm back at it. And
man.
I think everybody knows.
We missed you, man.
And thank you, including Guy, that podcasts is live shows like this is where it's going. I mean, people don't want to be listening to 14 minutes worth of commercials every 10 minutes, on old school radio anymore. They just don't want it,
Yeah.
It's 100% true.
Yep. So it's and there you go, from a legend in the nightclub business, him agreeing. Not that I asked him to agree, but it's a fact. And it's an opportunity for people like you, Chevy, to be able to get your music heard and to be able to do interviews like this and not have to deal with the red tape. Not have to be told that you have to go to a commercial break in 30 seconds or someone's paycheck won't go through. I mean, that's not the business I'm in here. So
Right.
I want to thank everybody for listening to the show today. Everybody here at the staff, Guy, thank you. Thanks for doing that surprise giveaway, and I'm sure your IG is blowing up right now with requests to win a table.
You know who just hit me up?
Who's that?
Nasty Ness.
Really?
The legend. The legend.
There you go.
All of a sudden,
Ness.
I see him on K-Fox dropping Posse on Broadway all over again.
Yep. People don't realize what he built up for Seattle.
They don't.
They don't.
Dirty. A lot of artists, man, from around here, they don't even know who he is. That's why at that event we had at
that buddy's house up there in North Seattle. Yep.
So that's why when Ness wasn't really talking about it, but I was like, Ness, I'm not sure if these guys know who you are. I mean, let them know who you are.
Right.
I mean, you don't have to go really full in detail, but let them know what you've accomplished in this industry, man, and what you do and what you've done for the city of Seattle as far as music and entertainment goes.
Yeah.
So,
Entertainment, period.
Entertainment,
period.
Yeah. So it's great to have Ness as always a backbone that I can reach out to and get his opinion and thoughts on the high shoulder in the group that we're both working with, and looking forward to working with you guys.
Right.
And we got a lot of fun business things that we're going to be working with here as a crew, and be excited to talk about those. So any last shout outs that we want to give before I sign off for the day here?
Shout out to my daughter,
Shout out to your daughter,
Kelsey.
Shout out to the kids for sure, man. But shout out to the whole Seattle Northwest movement, period, man. We going up, you guys, for real.
There you go.
And I want to give a shout out to my mom and my sister. They're watching right now. I know they were like, man, you better shout me out.
Or else that next Sunday morning breakfast won't be happening.
Shout out mom and sis.
He still get whoopings.
I wouldn't want to see that. So But like I said, I'm looking forward to having you guys all back in here in the studio. If you're not following us right now on IG, what the hell are you doing? Studio110.live. We'll be back at you tomorrow, 1 to 3, Monday through Friday, Pacific Standard Time. And I'm told through my buddy here, Cristiano, here at Studio 110's headquarters, as of now, things can always change, but I'm told that I'll make a pretty big announcement on Thursday with a special guest around the 3 o'clock hour. So that's something that you'll definitely want to be glued to your to whatever way you're watching the big show. So until then, I'll be back at you tomorrow, Tuesday, 1 o'clock, Studio110.live. Have a good night, y'all. See you tomorrow.